I'll do the donk.
Like
Just
we
a brother and sister
I will
hang out.
follow the Donk.
Yeah, chatting about media. Lol.
No!
Donk.
Report!
Okay, back again for another week of donking. It is gonna be shit. I'm just
What
gonna
the
change
fuck?
to my hotspot. Entertain everyone while I change my thing.
Okay. I got nothing
What the
to
hell?
say.
I'll see it. It's all right now, but
You're white now. Lol.
yeah.
Okay, Gilmore
Okay.
Girls. I think I just watched Cinnamon's Wake. Lol. Which I forgot that Cinnamon dies so early. I thought that Cinnamon was more of a recurring character, but obviously not.
Wait, so you're up to
Well,
Wake? Is that
to what?
what
The
you
Wake.
watched up to the Wake? Cinnamon's
Yeah,
Wake. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's good because we probably shouldn't. I've watched like twice as far as that.
Okay.
But
I
we should
know
probably limit it to not too much.
that might be wise. We can dip forward because I know like what happens, Oh. Um,
Nerd.
yeah. I love because I've only like in recent years watched the seasons that have Jess in them
Yeah, I
because
want to talk about that actually.
I think that's like Gilmore Girls at its peak, at least to me. But it is nice to be rewatching from the beginning because like Max is so sweet. He's
I
such a
know.
nice guy. Not you, you're dumb. He's so nice and they have really good like chemistry. I
I
think they're
know.
really cute. I like them a lot.
Yeah,
Um I think it's an interesting choice though to like kind of set up a will they won't they from the beginning, but then
with
not really do it for quite a
Luke.
while. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I was surprised at how early they set up that, which was in the pilot.
yes. But then they're kind of like I don't know. It's not like the plot, like it's not Lorelei's romantic plot, at least for like a
The
few
side
more
hustle.
series or something. Yeah, lol. Which I think makes it better than in a lot of shows where it's like way more the main thing going on for both of them and you get kind of bored of it. You're like, well, either do it or don't.
Yeah, like
But with
Ross and
them, it's
Rachel.
like, oh, cute. And then when they do get together, it's like, oh,
Shh, oi, shh.
you guys have actually like loved each other for ages. But like, what? Oh, spoilers. um, but yeah, I really like Max Medina.
Yeah, I actually just got up to the bit where like it goes Ori, which but we
Goes
won't talk
what?
about that. Ori,
What?
bad.
Oh,
Anyway,
is that a
but
word?
we
I've
won't
never heard that word before.
Awry.
That's a rye.
Oh, is it? Fuck. Fuck, I'm still editing that out. Is it?
That's so funny.
I thought they were two different words. That's
Yeah.
gay as fuck. Why has no one
No.
ever told me that? Anyway, we're editing that out.
No.
No, that's too gay.
That's the that's the true life of someone who reads a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Mum used to make fun of me about shit like this all the time because I would have read words but never said them or heard them out loud. Like the first time I said out loud the word hearth. I said hearth, and she laughed so hard at me for so long. And she was like, hearth? And I was like, yeah, I assumed you said it like the word earth. And
Yeah.
she was like, no, you say it like the word heart. And I was like, well, both of those are equally likely, you know?
Yeah,
Like, fuck
totally.
you.
You know? Yeah, anyway. But we won't talk about
Anyway,
that just yet because we're not up to that yet. But
no,
like, okay, I'm really enjoying like the development of the show too. Like they just set up the characters so well. And
yeah,
like right from the beginning, you know, because I've never watched it chronologically because I'd never watched it intentionally, really. Like I just caught it
yeah,
sometimes because it was on TV all the time. I think it was on TV once a week, and Grace was watching it,
yeah.
and so I just watched it when I was doing nothing or whatever. So I kind of like knew the vibe, but I'd never watched it in like a
Uh-oh.
structured way. What?
What?
Why are you
What?
saying oh?
Because you got all bungled.
Oh, it says your internet shit now, so fuck you.
Oh, what? My
Um.
internet has actually been a bit slack.
Anyway,
If it keeps going, I'll hotspot myself. Anyway,
yeah, like just how like right from the beginning, you know, they set up the relationship with the grandparents and the stuff with
yeah.
Luke and you know, like the characters are all just so well defined and so like clear. And you know,
When
like
they,
a little bit caricatured, but
yes, but quite quickly they really develop like the complexity of having the relationship with the grandparents. Like real early on is the episode where Rory plays golf with Richard,
yeah,
and she has a good time because they get on really well.
yeah,
And Lorelei is so conflicted about them having nice time together.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, it sets up really early that, yeah, because Rory has like didn't have the like controlled, restricted childhood Lorelei had, that she has the opportunity to just have nice grandparents, you know?
yeah. That's quite a common thing though, right? Like that the grandparents have a good relationship with the grand.
um, oh, hold on.
Are you gonna have to go on
Hold on.
hotspot?
This is no good. I'm gonna hotspot myself.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Who
Yeah,
would have thought a day
I
would
do that
come where
now.
the phone Wi-Fi was better than the house Wi-Fi?
I got none of that, mate.
Well, you missed it. It's gone. You had to be there.
I, I,
Yeah, that's
okay,
what I
that
was
should be
saying.
better, hopefully.
Okay, yeah, that seems good.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah, and oh, I was just gonna say, like, you've got in the doc harp lady, lol, Drella, and like
yeah,
even her, who is like such a minor character, and in fact, at some point in season one, I think just disappears.
yeah,
Like
I
she's
haven't
not
seen her for
in
a
the
while.
rest of the show. Yeah, she's in like a few episodes, but they like develop this character, or like she's kind of this like, I don't know, like whole person who is so funny. I really like her character, but then they're like, yeah, whatever. But
Yeah, I watched it with I rewatched the pilot with Shinoka, and she was like, "Oh, Karen,"
what?
like she's a Karen. Drella,
Mm,
lol.
mm.
Yeah, and you know, like Michelle and Jackson, you know, like the kind of like third tier characters are just so like,
I love Jackson.
oh, you
I think
fucking
Jackson
would.
is so sweet. I know,
He's basically you.
but you know, um, I saw a video recently. Maybe it was like from the podcast or something, but it was like a video of Michelle, and I have never in my life seen him speaking out of character and was so shocked to hear him be not a Frenchman.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he's
was wondering
American.
that. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's American.
Yeah.
Which I think if I had thought about it for even like a second, I would have realized like that is not a Frenchman. But because it's like a show I watched when I was a kid, I'm
Just
like, no,
unquestioned.
that's a Frenchman. Yeah.
Well, you'd never know. Like, it could be a Frenchman, but it is like a caricatured French accent. And then he
Yeah,
does
but it
speak
could
French.
be, yes, but it could be a Frenchman doing an intensified version of his accent for the character, you
Yeah,
know?
that's kind
But
of what
no,
I thought it might be.
yeah, no,
Oh.
he's an American man.
Also,
Lol.
is Michelle gay? I haven't got like confirmation.
They don't confirm it until the reboot, but yes, he is.
Oh.
Throughout the whole series, I'm not sure if it ever like explicitly says if he's like dating a woman, but his love life isn't really like a thing, you know?
Well, he probably
He
can't be
gets dogs at
openly.
one point.
He probably can't be gay in Stars Hollow.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it is said in the reboot though, he's like got a partner who's
Oh.
been with forever. Gay. Um,
That's lovely for him.
lol.
He is a dick
Yeah,
too, though. Like, it must be hard for him to get a partner with that attitude.
he's so funny though. He's so like French.
Well, just the tone of the humor is so defined and spot on as well. Like across the whole
Mm,
thing, like even the grandparents have that kind of like sarcastic, dry humor, which is
yeah.
kind of rare for American humor.
Mm. Like I just watched that episode where the dinner they're talking about Nazis and then the grandma makes a joke about Nazis they know and
I
Lorelei's
can make
like,
a joke too.
that's despicable. It's like, oh,
You're not the only one
um,
who can make a joke.
yeah. Also, you've written down speed, which is like a notable thing in like it being shot. Like I've seen behind the scenes stuff where like to fit in the whole script of an episode into their like time limit, time frame, they have to talk so fast. Like those women had to learn how to talk faster so they could like accomplish the scripts they were given,
Talk faster or
which
you're
is so
fired.
crazy. Yeah. But it also seems like, I don't know, like a lot of shows you get really funny like blooper reels and stuff from them. And I guess Gilmore Girls isn't a comedy, but like
I mean,
I've
it's a
seen
drama comedy.
bloopers. Yeah, but just like I've seen bloopers from the show and like there's not that many and it really seems like an environment in which like you messing up is like,
Not an option.
yeah, like you got to get it perfect. We got to get shit done and it's like, oh,
Maybe that's why they
bit weird.
fired Drella. Maybe she wasn't
Yeah.
fast enough. They're like, can you play harp fast? You want a great harpist? Anyway,
It's also so weird watching from the beginning. Maybe I said this last week, but it's funny seeing Kirk be not Kirk. And like the first time she meets Kirk, she doesn't know who he is. He's just like a guy there to install the internet. But then he becomes such a like character in Stars Hollow. And I think one of the best characters. He's so funny.
yeah, has he
He's
come
so
in for
weird.
you yet?
Oh,
He's like
maybe?
he's like working at the veggie market.
Yes, because he tells Patty she can't eat things.
Yeah, put things in her mouth. Man,
Yes,
Patty is such a good character too. Like she's like so like saucy and like so the
I know.
vibe of like a like a retired dancer or like show business
Yeah,
person.
she's so funny, eh? Also, Kirk, like, I guess we'll I mean, we might get to it eventually, but it's like a thing throughout the whole show that he just works everywhere. Like, if they go into a shop, it's like almost certainly Kirk working there.
That's so funny.
And
It's
there's
like
this whole
the
bit. Yeah.
it's like the Simpsons. Like they have that like one
Yeah.
teenage clerk guy who works at all the chain.
Yeah. But there's one bit where he's trying to buy this house, and everyone's like, "How do you have so much money?" He's like, "I work 10,000 jobs." Like,
He's got a time turner.
yeah,
He's like
he's
the
such a good
Hermione of
character.
part-time jobs.
There's this episode. Oh, it's hard not to jump forward for me, but there's this episode where he starts making t-shirt. He saw an article about a man in a small town who makes t-shirts with like something that's happened that day in the town on the t-shirt, and then he sells them.
Oh,
And
that's
he's
such a
like, it
good
gave me
idea.
this great idea. And they're like, what's the idea? And he's like, to make t-shirts with something that happened in the town on and then sell them. But they're really bad. Like the first one says Babette ate oatmeal. It's like, I just think he's such a funny character.
Babette is such a good name.
I love Babette. And Babette and her husband, I guess. They're so cute. They're such a cute couple. And she's so small and he's so tall.
Yeah, and she's real like
Um,
talkative, and he's real like dry and slow.
yeah, I love them. And it is so like, yeah, I think they really lay the groundwork well. Like the town rallying around Babette's cat dying and throwing this like incredible wake and funeral to
Mm.
celebrate the cat and like bring the town together is so like cool. You've really told me what Stars Hollow is like, you know? That Lorelei couldn't get out of work to go to her cousin or whatever's funeral, but can make it work for Cinnamon.
Yeah, well, like I thought that was a real key thing too, but I was kind of like disappointed that it didn't come across to like, Max just thought she was making an excuse. And
Yeah,
I mean obviously Emily's not going to get it because she's like that, but yeah, like I kind of like I wanted her to like take Max next door and be like, this is what it's like in Stars Hollow, you know?
yeah. I think she does like do that more, you know? Like he does become more involved, you know,
Yeah.
eventually. But
Yeah, and
obviously, I don't know, like it's their first date.
yeah, yeah, totally. And I
They've
think
only
like
met like 2 or 3 times.
early on in her
Sorry.
character too, like she kind of struggles to express herself. I don't know, I can't remember exactly what it's like later on. I hope there's development. But
Mm,
like, she kind of they kind of make a point of showing her doing these things and then realizing that it's a mistake or that she wasn't really expressing herself right, and then being like, oh, and apologizing or whatever. And I think that's kind of one of them.
yeah,
Like it's the truth that they're having this kind of town rally about, like for the cat's death or whatever.
yeah,
But she kind of says it in a way that's like sounds like bullshit.
yeah. I think that's really part of her character is that actually she's young. Like she's younger than you, and she's like,
Yeah, I'm the same age as the actress when they
oh,
started.
so
How fucked up
weird.
is that?
Do you know that the woman who plays Lane is like 35?
Really? And she's Japanese.
Yeah, I know. She's not Korean.
Racist.
Yeah, also her mother's accent is fake.
Oh yeah.
Um, and you know, like you never see Mr. Kim, like he's talked about, but you never meet him.
Oh true.
Lol. Um, yeah, Lane.
Yeah, I think Lorelei's character is really like poignant or something. Like, I don't know, like it's obviously a major theme of the show, but like how she's grappling with her relationship with Rory and like Rory growing up and separating from her and realizing that they're not the same
Mm,
person, like that her relationship with the grandparents or with her parents is not the same as Rory's relationship with them, and like she might like doing different things. And she's even,
yeah,
she's like on the brink of being, or like just getting used to being self-reflexive about stuff as well. Like she like
yeah,
has that whole thing where she's like attacking Rory for like borrowing her shirt, and then they're like
yeah.
fighting over whose bra is bigger and shit. And then she's like, "Sorry, I got possessed by like a demon that's obsessed with bra size and shit." But also
That
she's
scene
like,
is so funny.
yeah. But she's also like, is Harvard really your dream or was that my dream?
Yeah,
Like she's starting to like actually check in properly about how much she's managing Rory's life and personality and shit.
which is good because when she meets Max Medina, she's like, since Rory was a baby, I've wanted her to go to Harvard. It's
Mm,
always been the dream. And
yeah.
it's like, okay.
But she ends
Yeah,
up going to
she's,
Yale.
yes, spoiler alert. Um, yeah, it's such a nice show. I
I
love
know
it.
it's really doing a lot for me. It's like a pillar of kind of American media, I think.
Yeah,
Like Friends, but in a different genre, kind of. Like it's really like a homely place that you come back to, like Hogwarts.
yes, yes. Yeah, and I think for me is like more homely than like
Than
Friends.
than home, than our mum's home.
Yeah. Um, I think because I've watched it more times, probably. Because I think probably when I was a kid, I watched Friends more than I watched Gilmore Girls. But maybe also part of it is that like because I watched Gilmore Girls with my big sister that I was like excited to hang out with, you know? It is like, oh, it's special.
Yeah,
Um, love it. Excuse me.
excuse me.
Excuse me.
Y-
Rudeness. They're very rude.
Oh yeah, everyone's rude and annoying, which
Yeah,
I think is quite like endearing too, and it's like a sense of reality in the show that like no one's perfect or something.
definitely. I think it's also like
Just
uh
American.
one like a familiarity thing, like that the
Mm,
town is rude to each other because they are like secure in their relationships with one another.
yeah.
Um, because then it feels really different when the the grandparents and Lorelei are rude to each other. It's often way more like looking down
Judged.
your nose rudeness that
Yeah.
then the other party will react to. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, like
I
in the
really,
town.
yeah. It's cool too how they keep bringing in more characters, but they're just as familiar as the existing characters. So it's just like, oh, we just hadn't
Yeah.
seen them yet, but they're like,
Yeah.
you probably see them every day.
Mm.
But yeah, I really
Well,
like
like
er,
I'm not even sure if I've met Taylor Dosey yet.
nah, he just came in. He comes in like in the whoop, yeah, in the like I think it's like Independence Day or something, or
Mm.
Thanksgiving or some
Which is
shit.
funny because he's like over the whole show such a big character, you know? Like him and Luke hating each other comes back so many times and has so many like different plot lines attached to it and stuff. And
Yeah, Luke's shit
he's so annoying.
Luke's like frustration with the town is so good. Like with like everyone being stuck in these small town ways and not having like an awareness of what's going on and like not
Yeah.
not thinking about stuff, just like following along and shit. and like I don't know, everyone's so relatable.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Also,
yeah.
Lorelei's like kind of defense mechanism slash whatever, like personality character, like of her
Mm,
like constant witty quips and shit.
yeah.
It's just like so lols. Like everyone's so quippy and witty.
I know, everyone's quick.
Yeah. Yeah, no one
Yeah.
misses a beat.
Nah. It's very like, yeah, I think it is really well done in that way.
Oh yeah, and also like the cultural references are like quite rich. Like
Yeah.
I don't think like a mom, like a young mom in a small town would know that that many things.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. And so, yeah, I've looked up like the list of books Rory reads in the show or like mentions and stuff, and it's like so many amazing books and just like this super long list. And same with Jess when he comes in and like they're always referencing bands and like yeah, so many people.
even like at the oh, you maybe we're not up to there yet, but like in the when they go to the formal at Chilton and they're playing like Mazzy Star or some shit, I'm like, I
Mm.
don't think Chilton is quite on the level that Lorelei might be on, you know?
No, I think that's fair.
But still, it's
Yeah.
cool to like like some of the references like I don't even get. They're like too obscure for me.
Yeah.
And like
No.
I'm like,
Ah. Nah, there's people referenced in the show that I've like Googled to be like, I don't know what that means, but I'd like to know. Um, because also I think it is obviously so American as well. And because it's like there's a lot of references to American people that would have been known probably in America at least in the early 2000s, but it's 20 years later, it's 25 years later, they've fallen off.
yeah, true.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty dense.
yeah.
Um, did you listen to Luke's podcast?
Nah, I just looked it up and like, yeah, you were saying like it seemed like it might be a quite a high pressure environment working on the show
Mm.
or whatever. Lots of the complaints, like the low reviews on the show or on the podcast, were like about Amy something
Oh, Sherman
Palladino,
Palladino.
Sherman Palladino, being
Yeah.
like aggressive and like
Yeah.
dominating everyone. And like when people didn't agree with
Mm.
her, she's like, they're saying like she like shouts at all the other people and just tells them they're wrong and shit. And like I wonder if that was like a, a feature of the work environment.
Weird. Weird that he's doing it with her. I hadn't really realized that, I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, you when you told me about it, you were like, yeah, it's weird that he can't let go of you know,
Yeah.
it's like move on or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, if you'd been part of that,
Yeah.
it would kind of define your life. It's like Friends. Like, no one had a career outside of Friends, and like,
No,
although
not
I don't
really.
really condone it, but I can understand how you'd like want to. I'm quite a nostalgic guy as well, though. But like, you kind of would want to relive it because it's like your home in a way.
Yeah. I think it's like I understand it. It's something about like seeing it from the outside. Like with like the music of Draco Malfoy. It's like, oh, I feel like there's like a wasted potential there or something that you're still like stuck 20 years ago.
Mm,
That yeah, it's understandable and also like why not capitalize on the fame that you already have? And there's nothing wrong with it. It's something about seeing it from the outside where I'm like, ah, sad.
I
Makes
know.
me feel sad, you know? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I guess I'm like, oh, I hope that's not me in 20 years being like, oh, one time I did this literary magazine. It was so cool, you know? I guess it's like our dad. Haha.
I
It's
know. Fucking like, I mean,
like,
like, it's cool to have done. I mean, well, it's a bit different with him because he never did anything that major anyway. And then
yes.
it's like he's trying to like m keep getting gratification out of this one thing that he did that was like mildly recognized.
Yeah,
Whereas like Gilmore Girls was like a big deal, and he was kind of like a central character in a way.
totally. He's like he's in the main five-ish characters or whatever, you know? And like he's in the intro, you know?
Intro reel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
and I
like
think
the
like
granddad isn't even in there properly. It's like special or like guest starring him when he's in an episode or something.
he's in the opening reel.
Yeah, but it's not starring him or something.
Oh, true. It's just like a situation is in the him like handing the newspaper to Rory and shit.
Yeah. Oh, that is the fun thing about rewatching from the beginning as well, is like that intro is so familiar to me that when I see it in the episodes, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, same. And I was like, huh, they're all in the first few episodes.
Yeah.
But they have
Well,
to
I
be,
guess,
otherwise there'd be spoilers.
yeah. Yeah. It's cute.
Yeah,
Um,
I think though with the
yeah.
podcast thing, like I don't really have anything. I haven't listened to the podcast. I would just want them to do it with a bit of like a critical eye or like critical distance, you know? Like we did this thing, what does it mean now? It doesn't define my whole life, but it's interesting to look back on it or something, you know?
Yeah, which I think often those podcasts aren't putting that on it. They're like,
Just trying to keep gaining off it or something.
well, and telling, like sharing with the further world what it was like making it, which I think can be interesting. Like, I listened to a fair bit of the Always Sunny podcast,
Yeah.
which is the guys rewatching it from the beginning and talking about making each episode.
Mm.
And it's interesting. And there's a bit of like critical analysis to it, but it's not like, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit more like telling you about what's happened, you know, not thinking deeply about the experience or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think
I oh
Daniel Radcliffe has dealt with being Harry Potter really well. And like he is a bit like,
mm,
oh, it's not that like he doesn't really want to be associated with it. But
mm.
he's like it doesn't seem like he's like ashamed of it either. But he's kind of like, it was a great opportunity, but it's over, but kind of like whatever.
I've seen stuff saying though that because like they wanted to do something else but with the same characters now, and they all said no. But I saw a thing saying that they all said no because they didn't want to work with J.K. Rowling,
Ah,
because they've seen stuff about like how Warner Brothers is trying to buy the rights like outright from her, because
oh,
I
they
think
fucking would.
they hope that that original trio would come back and work, like do it again if she wasn't involved, you know?
Mm.
But I think he's fucking nailed it. Like, I think he never tried to like run away from that he was Harry Potter. And I think he
Yeah.
did try to do some like serious stuff and then realized he could just be having fun. And now he just does like weird, silly stuff, which is so cool. I love that for him.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. I kind of got the sense that he didn't really want to be an actor necessarily, but
yeah,
then he ended up being one. But then he's kind of owned that as well. Like he's like, okay, well maybe I will be an actor.
Yeah, it seems like he did Harry Potter and then he did some other stuff and he was like, yeah, I don't know if serious acting is my jam.
Hmm.
Let's have some fun. Which good for him. I think that main trio has done it well, you know? Like I think they all have done some acting, but like I think Hermione just went quite hard over into like activism sort of stuff
Yeah.
and
Has she
doesn't
done
really
any other
act
acting?
anymore. She did stuff for a while. Like she was in Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Okay.
Not heaps though. None of them have become like A-list celebrities, you know? I wouldn't
Mm.
say. Um,
Yeah. I just think like I mean obviously there's probably like quite a strong drive to hold on to stuff that you've done before, but like
hmm,
not good. Like even if it's like I haven't done anything that major or whatever, but just stuff that I did that I thought was cool 10 years ago. It's like
hmm.
that doesn't mean you're cool now. Like you've I don't know, not that you have to keep like busting your ass to like prove yourself or anything. But like I do think we're
Nah,
kind of here to engage and live your life and keep it alive, like keep being alive and keep doing
mm.
being fresh and not just being like, okay, well I've done one cool thing, now I'm cool.
Yeah, well, I think if you are still thinking that the thing you did 10 or 20 years ago is like the coolest thing you've done, it's like,
That's sad.
well, does that just mean you've put no effort into like growing or developing since then? Because like I mainly think the things I was doing 10 years ago are fucking lame. But
Yeah,
also like 10 years ago I was 17, so like I was still like a child and a teenager. But I think it's right that you look back and be like, oh yeah, yeah, you know.
yeah. Yeah, like I look back at this like books that I wrote 10 years ago and it's like it's on the one hand I'm like fuck this is unreadable. Like
Mm,
stylistically, it's like just hard to decipher. But on the other
yeah,
hand, it's like oh, I was already exploring then the stuff that I'm exploring now. I just didn't really have the means to express it. And it kind of
yeah,
it's like reassuring that I was on the right track at least or something. But
yeah.
that now I'm closer to finding ways of expressing it or whatever. So it's like there's both
Mm,
there's value in it and value in returning to it, but
mm,
not holding on to what it is or trying to be at that stage because that would be sad.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, why have you put Powerpuff Girls in the
I don't
doc?
know.
Cool.
Sometimes it's valuable to just put down what pops into your head. I think it's because it's like
Lol.
another girls, you know?
Okay, cool. I put on some Powerpuff Girls this year because I just wanted something to put on. And like whatever, it's kind of exactly how I remember it when I was a child. But I was shocked to discover like how few episodes there are. Like in
Altogether.
my mind, yeah, I'll look it up, but like I just had thought there was like heaps of heaps.
I also put it there because I'm on quite a deep nostalgia trip. I don't even know if I can say at the moment. Maybe my life is a big deep nostalgia trip. But
Lol.
I got a bit into Pinterest recently and I was just like then I ended up looking at old cartoons, like images from old cartoons and shit.
Yeah,
And maybe it was just in my head. But like returning to, it's like returning to an old state of mind and like re
yeah.
exploring what was going on there or something.
There was 6 seasons. I think maybe it wasn't about the number of seasons, but it ran from 98 to 2004. So maybe I was like, wow, it ended so long ago, you know?
Mm. Yeah, Shinuka was really into Powerpuff Girls too, and she's still kind of like she's still got like old merch and shit from it.
Cute.
Yeah. in Japanese though.
What? Lol. Oh, Buzzy.
It wasn't even my favorite like Cartoon Network cartoon though. Anyway, it's not
What
even
was your
like
favorite?
um. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I really loved any of them. I think I preferred like Dexter's Lab, but now that I say that, I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's dumb.
Lol. That one was not great, I don't think.
What even
He was
was
such
that?
a dick.
I know. Well, at the
Well,
time, I felt bad for him and that he was really like going hard on his shit, and like Dee Dee always comes and fucks it up. But now it's kind of like I kind of feel like that's not the point. Is that he's trying too hard and she's like lighthearted or whatever.
yeah. I liked
Ben 10.
no. I remember like I guess maybe they weren't Cartoon Network ones, but like Angry Beavers and like Real Monsters, that what it
Oh
was called?
yeah, yeah. That wasn't Cartoon Network. I think no, maybe I think Angry Beavers is Nickelodeon, maybe. But actually, IR Weasel. No,
No.
I am Weasel. You know,
I don't know what that
I
is.
am Weasel and IR Baboon.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, bro, and like this crossover between them and Cow and Chicken.
Oh,
Ed and
that's
Eddie, I
a
think.
vague memory. Oh yeah, I remember Ed and Eddie.
Yeah, I didn't
I
love that. I thought
remember
they were too annoying.
Courage the Cowardly Dog,
Oh yeah,
which was
Courage.
such a trip.
Yeah.
And that was like culturally on the button too. Do you remember that episode that's not Quentin Tarantino?
Oh, like
What's it
the
called?
zombie director guy.
Yeah.
No, but I mean I do remember the episode. I don't remember what the director guy was called. But yeah,
Quentin Tarantella.
yeah, the setup was so trippy. Like they just live out in the fucking desert or whatever, and like all these weird, trippy things happen to them, and it's like, why?
Yeah. That show's actually scary, I think. Like,
Yeah, I thought it was scary at the
it's
time.
so weird. Um, yeah, Buzzy. Um,
Anyway, that
I
was
don't
not a
remember the
very
other
important
ones.
section. It was like kind of just put random shit in the list or whatever.
Lol.
You know me.
Well, I've been reading Game of Thrones,
Oh yeah,
which
where
is
are you up to?
actually quite enjoyable. Um, Bran's just been crippled.
Oh man.
Yeah. Although it's pretty frustrating. Like I know he's only like 7.
But man up.
Not like he's like climbed up this fucking tower and he's overhearing this conversation and he can't see who's speaking. But like from the conversation you can tell who it is. Like at least you can tell it's the queen, you know? But he's like, I have to see who it is. And it's like, do you?
Don't you know you're
Do you
gonna get
really?
crippled?
I know it's also so frustrating, like knowing what's gonna happen. Because like I did watch Game of Thrones for several seasons, and like I remember, like that he's gonna get crippled. But he's like going to climb up the tower, and his wolf is like desperately trying to stop him, and he's like, stop howling, what are you doing? And it's like, listen,
Yeah,
and
I
like at the beginning when they find the wolf pups and their mum has been killed by like a stag horn in her neck,
mm,
and Catelyn is like the mum, the wife. Yeah. She's like, oh, that's an omen because the Baratheons are stags or whatever.
yeah.
but still then is like, you gotta go south. You gotta go you gotta go
Well,
live with the stags. And it's like,
she's
well,
she's just an average bitch though. She's not like a seer or something.
no. But she does believe in omens.
True.
But she's still like, oh, she's so fucking horrible to John though. It's crazy. And like, I don't know, it's pretty frustrating because there's this whole bit where it's talking about how like she, like men in that world in that time just have bastards. That's like what they do. But she like hates John so much because he's at their house. He's not just like off with his mother that Ned brought him home. But she's so horrible to him. Like when he goes to say, I've just read the bit where he goes to say goodbye to Bran, who's crippled, when he's going to the wall. And she like doesn't want him to say goodbye. And then as he's leaving, she's like, John. And he's like, oh, whoa, she's never said my name before. And turns around and she's like, it should have been you. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Aww. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
Also,
so
like
brutal.
the whole, in terms of like the plot, the whole point of Ned bringing him home is that it's a sign of Ned's like gracious and like responsible character, you know. It's
Yes.
it's like a sign to, to her too that he
It's a
has
good
a
man.
sense of conscience. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's a good guy.
I also, I don't
She's like,
know,
you should have
like,
been a fucking asshole guy like all the other guys. What are you doing?
yeah. It is kind of weird though, because like, from what I understand from, I guess, probably the show or maybe the books, I don't really know how different they are. But like, John isn't his son. He's not his son.
What?
Ah, the whole thing is that John is also like heir to the throne,
Okay.
and that he's a Targaryen.
Ah,
Um,
so he just brought home
anyway,
someone else's bastard.
yeah, it's like his sister's son?
Who?
Someone. Anyway. Oh, Ned's sister's son, maybe.
Why didn't
Okay.
he tell everyone that?
Yes. Well, this is the thing, right? Is that because the Targaryens were being killed because the Baratheons were like taking the throne. I think she's like, you need to pretend that he's yours so that no one kills him because he's a Targaryen, like to keep him safe. And it's like, okay, you couldn't just tell just your wife,
Yeah.
like your wife who's spent this guy, like this boy's whole life hating him and being horrible to him and like refusing to acknowledge him. You couldn't just tell her, like, just between me and you, he's not actually my bastard, but we need to keep up appearances, you
But
know?
does that happen in the books too, or is that just the TV show?
I think it's the book, but I am not 100% sure. I can Google in the books.
Yeah, I started the first one last year, I think, too, and read like, I don't know, a third of it or something.
Yeah, so his parents are Lyanna Stark, who's Ned's sister, and Rhaegar Targaryen.
Is that who the king, whatever his name is, was in love with?
I think so. Yes, it is. And Rhaegar is Daenerys and her gross brother's older brother.
Ah,
So, yeah.
okay.
Anyway,
Yeah, I thought the books were really good. It's the same thing with like Harry Potter movies and Lord of the Rings movies and shit. Like there's just a depth in books that you can't express in a movie, which is kind of a shame. Like I watched the first few Games of Thrones series when they were coming out. I think 3.
Yeah, same.
And they were good at the time. I didn't think there was enough like good fantasy TV or movies or whatever, and
Mm.
I kind of started watching them when I was smoking weed as well, so everything was good back then.
I
But
think this kind of kicked off a more like highbrow view of fantasy that was like commonly loved and isn't just like this super nerdy thing, you know?
mm, yeah, but I haven't even ended up
But
watching other fantasy stuff that's come out after that because it all just seems like, I mean, maybe it's become too mainstream and now it's like watered down or something.
yeah, I've been watching House of the Dragon, which I think I like more than Game of the Thrones. That's not what it's called. Game of Thrones. Um,
Lord of the
because it's kind of um simpler. Like I feel like what a lot of people's problem with Game of Thrones was is that like there was too many things you're cutting between. Like, okay, now there's some Starks at Winterfell and some are at court, and then there's some over here doing this, and John's at the wall, and you've got like all these different people, all these different places. Whereas House of the Dragon, the first season was like at court, you're just kind of setting that up. And then in season two, it's a bit more like, but it's kind of like there's two parties, like Game of Thrones is like, and then
bunch of
there's
parties.
Daenerys over there doing her whole thing, and then like, all these
Well,
things.
that's what's cool about the book, though, and maybe it just works better in a book to be,
Mm,
that's like quite a common book, like modern novel format, like different
yeah,
characters' perspectives and stuff. I didn't
I
mind
think,
mind that at all, really, but I think it does make more sense in a book where you have chapters and like
yeah.
it's clear that it's cutting between them.
Well, I think with the TV show and maybe with the books, it gets more as you go along. Like I'm the same. I stopped watching after season three. I got bored. And I think a fair amount of people dropped out around then because then you were like the characters of the first few seasons were like, if they were still alive, getting more like desperate and doing their own journeys, which is cool. But maybe in a TV show, as opposed to a like 700-page book, you get a bit like, well, I haven't seen this person in like two episodes, you know?
Mm. Yeah, well, TV is for plebs.
Yes.
you know, it's made for short attention span, kind of like, you know, give you mental stimulation or whatever, like
Yeah.
perceptual stimulation
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
It's not made for someone who wants to sit down and be involved in a world in the same way.
No. Nah. But yeah, when I watched the first season of House of the Dragon, I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch Game of Thrones. And then it's kind of that annoying thing because I watched the first few seasons, but ages ago. When I started season one again, I was like, oh, this is kind of boring because I remember most of what's happened, but I don't feel I remember enough to not watch the first three seasons, And I was like, that's kind of boring. But reading the book is fun. It's slightly different. It's also so weird reading the book because, like, they're all children. Like,
Y-
John and Rob are 15
Yeah.
and, like, Bran's 7, And
And
then in the show,
Daenerys
they're
is like
like
14
10.
or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's 13.
Also, they
Oh,
so
okay.
played up all the, like, I don't know, rape and like kind of
Mm,
sexual domination and shit in the show. Like in the book, I don't know if you're up to the bit where Daenerys has gotten married and shit. But she's
Nah.
not really as like fucked up about it in the book as she is in the series.
Mm.
Like she's like,
I mean,
okay, well I'm married now, I'm gonna like make this work or something. It's not, and actually no,
okay.
he doesn't speak any like English or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
like he asks her, like when
Yeah.
he's like about to like get on it, he's like the only word he knows is no or something. So and he's
Yeah.
like starts touching her, he's like no, and she's like yes, kind of, you know. So it's like they kind of cut that out and just made it more like rape. Like the horse tribe guy is just like fuck you,
Yeah.
you're my wife, and like
From
why would you distort it in
I
that
know.
direction? That seems fucked up to me.
Well, so because it really then like colors the beautiful relationship they end up having. You're like, oh yeah, but that happened at the beginning. But I
Like
do think,
Stockholm syndrome.
yeah. I don't know. When I started watching Game of Thrones again, it must have been like 2 years ago. I don't think it's as rapey as it first seemed when it first came out. Like
Which
when I
is like
watched it.
you're desensitized to it. I've tuned out about my attitude.
Actually, this is fine. Nah, I don't know. It seemed less to me like she was just unhappy with like the sex that was happening and that she just is feeling so like fucked up about the whole situation, that she is like a child who has to marry this man because her brother wants the throne. And like in the book, she keeps being to her brother like, I want to go home. And he's like, our throne is the home. You have to like
What is
you have
that
to marry
character?
this guy.
Like a German like caricature or something. How spread it to him? It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Man, they should have made Arnie the brother character. We just watched Batman and Robin, which is like George Clooney as Batman, which is fucking weird.
Weird.
And Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy and Arnold
Oh
Schwarzenegger
yeah.
as Mr. Freeze. And he's just like that
Oh
through the whole
yeah.
movie.
He's funny.
Everything is united under one law. Everything freezes. Anyway,
Um yeah. But I think it's more obvious in the book that she's just like a child who is like, I want to go back to the home we had, like a year ago or
yeah.
whatever. And
There
he's
were
like,
people out to kill them though.
well, in the book it's really unclear because it says that he always says that the knives of the crown are following them or whatever, and they have to keep moving around. But Daenerys is like, but I never seen anyone.
Nah, they talk about it in the council in King's Landing or whatever as well.
I'm not there yet.
And Ned's real against it. He's like, how could we send assassins after like children? And Robert
Mm,
is like,
yeah.
they're not just children, they're Targaryens and shit.
Okay, well I haven't got there yet. They haven't left for King's Landing yet.
I think part of my vendetta against movies made from books as well is that like books stretch your sense of reality and
Yeah.
create characters that are like beyond what you probably would ever experience or might even be possible in the
Mm,
world. And then they're reduced to these like actors, you know?
yeah.
Like an actor can never live up to being like the Baron
Sorry.
in June, you know? Or like
Yeah.
Hagrid, or like
Yeah.
Robert Baratheon is like this fucking obese like mountain of a man, and he's like fucked up because he's so depressed at just being stuck in the court and not being out battling, which is the reason that he became the king in the first place.
When he hates his wife, his horrible wife.
Everyone hates her.
because she's a psycho. Yeah, she's a bitch. I know, it's so funny that in the TV show though, it's just that guy from A Knight's Tale who plays the king. You know?
What?
You know, in A Knight's Tale, and there's the two friends, and there's the round, dark-haired friend, and then there's the ginger idiot.
Yeah.
And the the round, dark-haired friend is the king.
Is he Robert?
Yeah, I'm
What?
pretty sure. What?
I mean, they look similar. I didn't make that connection.
I rewatched that movie maybe last year
Oh, it
because
is
I was
him.
like, oh, yeah.
The round, dark-haired friend.
He's got a really round head
See, in the
and body.
TV show, he's like a bit chubby. In the book, he's like fucking
Huge.
hideous.
When in the book, he's like 6'5" as well. Like
Yeah.
he's huge in every sense. And the boys are really disappointed to meet him because they've heard so much about this like super athletic fighting lord.
Yeah.
And then they meet him and they're like, what the fuck? But also Ned, when they first arrive at court, Ned is like, that is the queen, like in his head, seeing the queen, and then this like fat man in front of her. He's like, oh shit. That's
Yeah, well,
him.
it's even sadder in the book too, because he was like this champion.
Yeah.
And like it was like he was this
Yeah,
like
who
amazing
cooed
fighter
the
who
throne.
yeah,
Thrown.
the throne.
Fuck.
It's actually pronounced throne. That's throne, bro.
Okay, Ori.
I was thinking Rory, you know? I
Whatever.
just got that's how your mom told me
Whatever.
to say it. Anyway, um,
Lol.
and then he's like reduced to this fucking obese, like swollen toddler.
I know, but it's so clear even from the beginning in the book that he's this like living in the past stunted guy. Because like the first thing when you first meet him, the first thing he says is like, "Take me to the like crypt, so he can see that girl's crypt." Because
Yeah.
he's like still in love with her, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know, you know this thing like um hard times make strong men make easy times make weak men or whatever.
Yes.
It's so like that. Like I'm not to romanticize like I think they kind of play with this in June too, but like and
Yeah.
not to romanticize struggle. But you know, if they'd kind of stayed in a more of like a feudal kind of like warring realm
Mm.
with a bunch of different kingdoms, they might have
When you
been
can,
happier.
yes, that is such a huge thing in June, but you can see that with like the Starks, you know, like they have lived in this like really cold, different environment, and they're like tougher, seriouser guys than like the crown and the princes, you know?
Mm. Oh
Mm,
yeah, the princes are pathetic.
yeah. Joffrey's a fucking loser. I keep
Yeah.
seeing interesting stuff though about like when Game of Thrones was coming out, that actor that played Joffrey stopped acting because people hated him so much and would like stop him on the street and like verbally abuse him because they hated Joffrey so much.
I know I've
And
heard
I
of
do
that with
keep
a few
seeing stuff,
things.
yeah, but I
Like
keep seeing
characters who
stuff
played
about how like they're managing it differently with House of the Dragon and how they're like making more of an effort to do interviews and stuff so that people aren't like abusing the actors.
Yeah,
Just wild.
have you seen Kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who plays that AIDS like creep guy,
Mm.
apparently he had to like leave New York because people couldn't make the difference, make the separation between him and his character. And like he
That's
was just
crazy,
getting
eh?
like harassed because he like it's set in New York. He lives in New York, and he kind of like
Mm,
I don't know was probably in some way adjacent to some kind of youth culture. So like
yeah.
you'd get all these people seeing that movie and being like, "That's fucked up," and then just being like, "You're fucked up." But that's so bizarre. I mean, it's like people abusing people from reality shows on the internet as well, or like abusing actors
Yeah.
on the internet too. It's like,
Yeah.
how small-minded are you that you think the
I
person
know.
playing this is somehow anyway like their character?
I know. It's so weird.
That's
I
what
think
acting
some
is.
people, I know, I think there's like two kind of minds about it, and one of them is like, to act this as well as you do, you must be similar to that character. And then there's, you are a good actor. I hate this character so much, which is just a testament to how good you are.
Yeah,
It's just so stupid, though. Yeah, hold on. I need to go to the toilet and I need to blow my nose.
you are a toilet.
No! It's funny reading Game of Thrones as well, because they talk about like what's happening oh in growth in House of the Dragon, because that's before, you know?
Oh, true. Like all the people burning and shit.
Well, like there was just a bit where I think Bran is talking about like the King's Guard across history and like how he looks up to them and thinks they're so cool, and mentions these twins that are in House of the Dragon and how they die, and they've just died in the TV show. It's like, no, whoa,
Man, bananas are so good.
nah,
What?
nah, mainly nah.
What's your hot take on bananas?
I have phases where I love them and eat them all the time, but mostly I don't want them. Also, if they've got any brown on them, nah, too sweet.
No,
Nah, too sweet, bro. I want them to be like hard.
I don't know if I needed to know that.
Banana bread, yum. Banana
Banana
pancakes,
bread, bro!
yum.
Hell yeah, bro! I've had that stuck on my head like all week.
Lol.
Every time I think like fuck yeah, it just comes back into my head and plays like for a few minutes.
So weird what's in brains, eh? Because my flatmate showed me that video, and it was a girl who's done her hair, so she's going, and I was like those clowns. And she's from the Netherlands, so she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know, I've had this whole thing about clowns in the last like year.
Yes, I'm aware.
It's catching on.
It's it's like a disease. But yeah, I think about those clowns quite often.
Why? And what context?
I don't know, but they're not something like in the back of my brain that is occasionally dredged up, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's something like middle ground where I'm like, oh, those clowns. So
They're
weird.
hungry for bananas.
Yeah, they're like a brain worm.
This shit
Um,
is bananas. BANANAX.
yeah, you should. I can't believe Kinds of Kindness isn't coming out for you in so long.
I'm sure they could translate shit faster than like 6 months or something. Fucking lazy.
It's not like complicated
It's
language.
not like it's complicated.
Are they stupid?
Why aren't they translating it to like they could be translating it for like 6 months before it comes out and have the
Yeah.
translation almost ready.
Yes. Yes. Stupid.
Yeah. You're gonna have to hold on. Maybe we could watch it again in Japan.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I need to see it again. I kind of think because it's 3 stories, I think one of the stories was cool and I wouldn't mind watching it again. But the other two,
Hmm.
whatever.
Well, we're not talking about that right now.
No.
You'll
Also,
cancel.
it's long. It's like almost 3 hours.
Um. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had the Gilmore Girls theme song in my head quite a lot recently too, for some reason.
Yeah, you should listen to Tapestry.
Is it an album?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's on that album.
Yeah.
It's a great album. I love it.
Well, the other day I just put that into my music app and let it carry on
Mm.
recommendations, and a lot of it was really good. And then it gave me Avril Lavigne, and I was like,
Oh,
no, not
that's not
down for
the
it.
same.
Well, I think it just played me through a bunch of like middle of the road, like easy listening kind of shit. And then which one was it? It was the one about you being too fucking try hard.
I don't know. You were the Avril Lavigne fan.
No,
Yes,
no.
yes, you were.
I'll accept Linkin Park, but fuck Avril Lavigne.
You got Avril Lavigne in your stocking.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Santa was thinking.
He's just some guy in the North Pole. He doesn't even know you.
He doesn't understand music. No, it was that
Loser.
one like, you know, you're wearing all these cool clothes and thinking about how you look too much and shit. Anyway, it wasn't good. But all the other like, it gave me like Sixpence None the Richer and like,
I don't
oh,
know
you don't
what
know
that is.
them? Kiss Me.
Nah, no.
What?
Kiss me through the phone.
No, I'm not gonna
No,
say
I
that.
don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
I guess that's us for this week.
Cool story, bro. Let's wrap this shit up.
Cancelled.
Lol.
Yeah, let's see how
Okay.
many episodes we can get in with that before being cancelled.
Do you know that that guy who plays the king was also in the Flintstones?
Yes. For some reason, the Flintstones has been within my sphere of awareness recently.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that movie too, not the cartoon.
Yeah, right. And he was in Full Monty.
What? Oh, maybe he
Yeah.
was. I haven't even seen the whole movie, but
He's like younger then, and he's not around.
that makes sense. Yeah, the bad guy in the Flintstones movie too is like Kyle MacLachlan.
Nah, he actually is still quite round in the face, eh? Sorry, what?
Kyle MacLachlan
Oh, he's
from
in
Twin
some
Peaks.
weird shit, eh?
Yeah, Desperate
Um,
Housewives.
Sex and the City.
Oh,
He marries one of the Sex and the City girls.
in real life?
No,
Oh.
in the
Bro,
show.
bro, maybe we should watch Sex in the City one day. I have no idea. I've never watched it. And like,
I just rewatched all of it.
oh no, maybe we shouldn't.
It's not good, eh? It's like
It's also kind of
it's
like a pillar of American culture though.
yeah, totally. It's not good.
Okay.
In rewatching it, she's so horrible.
Yeah.
She's just so horrible. And it's one of those shows that I find like when the characters just continually make bad decisions. Sometimes it's funny, like in Seinfeld, and you're like, oh, George, what are you doing? in Sex in the City, you're like, oh, you're such a bitch.
I feel like it's either like a kind of icon of or the beginning of this culture of like women making bad decisions and then blaming men for it. Because like I feel like with George Costanza, like you're like that's his character. He's like a self-sabotaging, like sad
Yeah.
little man.
Yes.
But I feel like with Sex in the City, they're like the main characters and like they're supposed to be the good guys in a way. Like they're the protagonists. It's not like a joke side character where like they do everything wrong. It's like a comic
Yeah.
relief. It's like, why is dating life so hard? And it's like maybe
Yeah.
because you're a vapid bitch and you never make an effort to improve your personality.
Yes. Well, like, why is dating so hard? Oh, I'm dating this really nice guy, but I'm gonna cheat on her with my ex-boyfriend, and then he's gonna leave me. I'm gonna be really fucked up about it. It's so hard. Like, no, you're making bad choices.
Therapy was invented for people like you.
But it was
I
also
mean,
one of those shows like Friends, though, where like Carrie writes one column a week, and she has like this apartment alone in New York City and all these like expensive designer clothes, and you're like, this is just so unrealistic. You're taking me out of it.
why can't TV just be more realistic? Like Gilmore Girls.
Just like Gilmore Girls. Yeah, I don't think worth you watching it,
Okay.
to be honest. But I did watch some of the reboot of that as well. And that
Oh,
was so infuriating because there's this bit where she like gets home and her husband partner is like having a heart attack in their home and she finds him and he's not dead. And he's like
and she's like, I'll come back in a few hours.
he mutters a few words like he's very much not dead and not lost consciousness and she just holds him in her arms and is like no, no, and it's like do something. And then he dies and she's like the whole show is kind of her being fucked up about it and like trying to move on and stuff and you're like could have done something. I even googled it. I was like why didn't she do anything? And there's this article where someone has like reached out to a doctor and been like, would he have survived? And the doctor is like, yeah, probably. Like, given the distance from like a hospital to her house in the show, it's likely that an ambulance would have got there and saved his life had she done something.
They probably can't afford an ambulance, to be fair.
Nah, they're rich as fuck. In the reboot, they do at least address why all of these women have just so much money.
Sugar babies.
Oh.
Okay.
They're old now.
Yeah, but back in the early series.
Oh, it doesn't address that.
Oh.
It just explains like the reason why they all have no consideration for money now is like Carrie's husband died, you know? Now she's got all his money.
That's why she didn't say
That's why she didn't do anything.
it all adds up.
Oh.
You know, New York used to be cheap.
Mm,
You used to be able
famously.
to share a huge studio apartment on like a central street with just a cafe waitress job.
Yeah.
Or a really unsuccessful acting career.
Well, I mean, I don't think Joey paid rent.
Oh yeah, actually, Chandler was constantly supporting him.
Mm.
Chandler. I actually, bro, I would actually really be interested in doing like a Friends reboot, like for a TV show, where starting at the beginning, we'd like rewrite
Mm.
Friends as a serious drama. Maybe not
Yeah.
episode for episode, but kind of almost like blow by blow. What would this be? Because it's a sitcom, right? Situation comedy. You take the situations and then like replay them as serious situations and how they might actually affect people with those personality disorders or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that could be like real nourishing, valuable television, I reckon.
I reckon.
Why did you start eating now?
I got hungry, sorry. You ate a banana.
I know, but that was a prop. That was like a gag for the show.
Oh, here's my fish and rice gag.
It's hilarious.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it looks like we've had enough of today. So we'll see y'all next time.
Low
Club. No.
report.
Okay, bye.